Introducing Hephaestus. In the heart of the ancient world, where the gods ruled over mortals, Hephaestus, the god of fire and craftsmanship, was said to work tirelessly in his grand forge. Unlike the other Olympian gods, Hephaestus resided in both the shining palaces atop Mount Olympus and deep within the earth. His most renowned forge was believed to be beneath the volatile volcanic regions in Lemnos, and later it was believed his workshop was on Mount Etna in Sicily. Volcanoes was thought to be the perfect location for Hephaestus's forge. Its fiery magma and constant tremors provided the raw materials he needed to create his legendary works. The fire from the volcano's core fueled his forge, while the molten lava was shaped into masterpieces under his skillful hands. The Cyclopes, a race of one-eyed giants, were his assistants, hammering and shaping the divine metal under his direction. The earth rumbled as Hephaestus struck his hammer upon the anvil, each blow sending sparks into the air that lit up the dark caverns beneath the mountain. From his forge came creations of incredible beauty and power, shields that could deflect any weapon, weapons that never dulled, and armor that rendered the wearer invincible. The gods of Olympus frequently sought Hephaestus's craftsmanship, and it was from these very fires that he forged many of their divine tools. Mortals believing that the god's presence within the volcano caused its frequent eruptions. The smoke billowing from its summit was seen as a sign that Hephaestus was hard at work, creating new wonders for the gods. The lava flows were considered the molten remnants of his creations, spilling from the earth like the blood of the forge itself. Hephaestus held great importance in ancient Greek mythology as the god of fire and craftsmanship, particularly blacksmithing, sculpting, and carpentry. As one of the 12 Olympian gods, he was the son of Zeus and Hera, the rulers of Mount Olympus, and was married to the goddess Aphrodite. According to some ancient sources, such as the poet Homer, Hephaestus was believed to be the son of Zeus and Hera. However, others, like Hesiod, suggested that Hera conceived him on her own. Regardless of his origins, Hephaestus was said to have been born extremely unattractive, which set him apart from other Greek gods, who were typically portrayed as physically beautiful. Despite his physical imperfections, Hephaestus's talents were unmatched, and his forges became symbols of divine craftsmanship and power. Each piece he created carried with it the fiery force of the earth itself, a reminder that even in the depths of flame and darkness, beauty and strength could be born. He is often depicted as a bearded, middle-aged man with a strong, muscular build, commonly shown wearing a short, sleeveless tunic, the typical attire of craftsmen. As a master of his craft, Hephaestus is frequently associated with tools like hammers, anvils, and tongs. Hephaestus may have been born with a physical disability, as one of his many epithets was the lame one. In various myths, his lameness is attributed either to Zeus or Hera. In one version of the story, Hephaestus sided with his mother during a quarrel between Zeus and Hera. Furious at his interference, Zeus hurled Hephaestus from Mount Olympus, and the fall left him lame. In other versions, it was Hera who, repulsed by her son's deformity and appearance, cast him down from the mountain herself. During his exile, Hephaestus honed his skills as a craftsman. In one version of the myth, after being cast from Olympus, he fell into the ocean and was rescued by the sea goddesses Thetis and Eurynome. They sheltered him in an underwater cave for 9 years, where he learned to craft exquisite jewelry from pearls and coral. In another version, Hephaestus landed on the island of Lemnos, where he was trained by Kidalionas, a master blacksmith. These stories explain his eventual role as the god of fire and smithing. After his exile, Hephaestus finally returned to Mount Olympus, riding on the back of a donkey. As he entered the Olympian throne room, the gods, especially Hera and Ares, were stunned into silence by his appearance. Hephaestus had brought magnificent new thrones for each of the Olympians, with Hera's throne being the most striking. Though suspicious at first, Hera, impressed by its beauty, quickly took her seat. However, the moment she did, invisible, unbreakable chains bound her tightly, constricting her movement and causing the divine ichor in her veins to pool in her hands and feet. Ares and Hermes tried to persuade Hephaestus to free Hera, but he refused. It wasn't until his youngest half-brother Dionysus, the god of wine, took a different approach that things changed. Dionysus began visiting Hephaestus's forge, building a friendship with him over time. A week later, after introducing Hephaestus to wine, Dionysus convinced the now intoxicated god to forgive Hera. Hephaestus, carried back to Olympus on the same donkey, declared his forgiveness and released Hera from her chains. In the end, Hephaestus and Hera reconciled, making peace after their long-standing conflict. Aphrodite's arrival on Olympus, with her unmatched beauty, caused immediate chaos among the gods, with Zeus, Poseidon, Ares, Apollo, and Hermes all vying for her attention. However, Hephaestus, feeling dejected due to his appearance, stayed in the shadows. Hera, noticing the unrest, quickly intervened and proclaimed that Hephaestus would be Aphrodite's husband, believing this would prevent further conflict among the gods. Athena supported the decision, reasoning that no one would be jealous of Hephaestus. Despite the surprise and reluctance of Ares and Aphrodite, Zeus married them on the spot, and Hephaestus vowed to be a devoted husband. Though Hephaestus remained faithful, Aphrodite kept her distance and soon began an affair with Ares. Their relationship became widely known, though he, possibly out of denial, remained oblivious. He became suspicious when Aphrodite gave birth to Eros and Harmonia, who were both strikingly beautiful and bore no resemblance to Hephaestus. Eventually, he devised a plan to catch Aphrodite in the act by trapping the pair in a golden net and humiliating them in front of the other gods, who found the situation amusing. Poseidon eventually convinced Hephaestus to release them, promising compensation from Ares and return of Aphrodite's dowry from Zeus. Despite the public shame, Aphrodite continued her affair with Ares and pursued other lovers, while Hephaestus eventually moved on, beginning a relationship with Aphrodite's own attendant, the Charis Aglaea, who was one of the three Charites, also known as the Graces, and the goddesses of beauty, splendor, and adornment. Aglaea, often portrayed as the embodiment of charm and elegance, was an ideal partner for Hephaestus, whose craftsmanship brought beauty and wonder to the gods. Unlike his tumultuous first marriage, Hephaestus's union with Aglaea was peaceful and harmonious. Hephaestus finally found happiness. Together, they had 4 daughters: Euclea, Euphemie, Euthenia, and Philophrosyne, who were considered the younger Charites and were associated with grace and goodness in their own right. Hephaestus was renowned for crafting extraordinary objects, both for the gods and select mortals. His palace was made of gold, and he even created golden mechanical beings that moved and acted almost like humans. One of his notable contributions was in the creation of Pandora, the first human woman in Greek mythology. Following Zeus's orders, Hephaestus molded her from clay. Pandora was endowed with beauty and charm by other gods, but she also carried a jar, or box, that contained all the evils of the world. In another myth, Hephaestus attempted to pursue Athena, but she rejected his advances. During the struggle, Hephaestus inadvertently impregnated the earth, Gaia, leading to the birth of Erichthonius, a half-serpent child. Among his many creations was Talos, a giant bronze automaton. Designed to protect the island of Crete, Talos circled the island 3 times a day, guarding against invaders. His body, made of solid metal, contained a single vein filled with ichor, the life fluid of the gods. Talos defended Crete by heating his body until it became red hot, either embracing enemies or hurling stones at them. In the myth of the Argonauts, Talos was eventually defeated when Medea tricked him into removing the nail that sealed his vein, causing the ichor to drain from his body, leading to his death. Talos is often seen as one of the earliest representations of an artificial being in mythology. Hephaestus was also responsible for crafting Zeus's thunderbolts, Athena's aegis, a powerful shield, and the legendary armor of Achilles, which became one of the most iconic pieces of weaponry in Greek mythology. Other famous creations include Peleus' sword and Diomedes' breastplate. It was said that the flames of a volcano were not only the remnants of past eruptions, but also the result of Hephaestus' tireless work, as the sparks from his forge occasionally burst forth from the volcano's peak. Thank you for joining us on our journey through the ancient tales of Greek mythology. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, may the stories of ancient myths continue to captivate and inspire.